Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benefactor at Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Kate, Felicia, Nick, Kieran, and Rodrigo with their adventures in Alaria. Don't forget, you can help or indeed hinder by using your channel points in the game. Check out the options in the chat bar. You can also join the chaos by clicking the Discord link below and talk to us about your favorite games, or support us in what we do by becoming a subscriber. So let's rejoin the players as they play episode 102 of the Benefactor. And welcome back, everybody, and welcome to our players.
Hello.
So, how is everybody first? Because once I get into it, words will just start spelling out of my mouth, as they usually do. But...
Oh, Herbert, thank you. That's a certain way to put it.
Thank you for the sub.
Hermit, I told you to keep that on wraps, dude. Really.
I have no idea what he said, and I think I want to keep it that way.
Almost gonna child me, y'all.
8 months.
8 months. I have subscribed for 9 months now, so
Stream baby.
Stream baby.
Dream baby.
Stream baby. Yes. Yes. In what happened this week, our news for this week is that it was my birthday. I am now 25.
Oh. Yeah. Nice.
She is now one step closer to becoming an old lady.
Yes, yes.
In Japan, she will already be classified as an old lady.
Hello, Dry Scythe.
Sadly.
One.
Well, I mean, I am planning to follow my family's tradition, and when Corinne turns 30, I'll give her a cane.
Oh, okay.
That's a walking stick for everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
My family is weird.
The other than that, we are 7 out of 10 heroic in Castle Nathria. That's very interesting.
No more WoW. No more WoW.
I think though, Nick, what are you at the moment?
We are 9 out of 10 heroic and 2 out of 10 heroic.
Oh, Stygian Moonlight.
Thank you, Stygian Moonlight, for 3 months in advance subscription. Thank you.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Tier 3 as well. Thank you.
Tier 3.
Damn.
Wow. Okay. So,
Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say I just saw the graphic. I was like, ooh, hello.
Yeah, you changed your name yet. I remember that.
It's Kevin. Oh.
Thank you, Kevin. And
Thank
Prime,
you,
of
Kevin.
course, you thought
Thank
of
you
Candy
so
Prime.
much.
You are a pure and innocent soul.
I don't think we have a
Hey,
tier
Mia.
of 3 emotes. I don't know if we. Yeah, we do.
I don't
We
think
do.
Yes,
we
we do.
do.
We have all 3 tiers. Yeah.
Alright.
If there is something I need to fix, tell me. I am.
It is there. I can't remember what it is, but it is there. We can look it up later. But yes, there is definitely a tier 3 emote.
Yes.
Yes, Kevin, we know you're not pure, but we don't care. You subscribe to tier 3, you can be as impure as you like. You know, it's pretty much a
Pretty sure
free
it's
pass.
either Iden what the fuck or Catnap that's tier 3.
I think it's the Iden, yeah.
No, those are bit modes. Those are bit modes. The tier 3 ones are it's like the guidance, and I think the like the actual channel like logo.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So you can spam the rose now. Okay.
Recap.
Previously on the Benefactor, you guys are still in the village. In fact, all of you, apart from actually, now that we have Rodrigo here, we need to figure out what's going on with Aiden. Most of you are asleep. Cora has used her ability to go into the Feywild, which in this canon is connected to the dream world. And both Eclipse and Glory are fast asleep. And as far as they're concerned, dreaming. The dreaming is quite cool. It's got their friends in it, and there's this old elf guy. Farewell is awake, and he is currently plumbing the depths of chronomancy, having gone through a trial that he's not entirely sure was down to the arcane book that's currently what he's doing exercises from, his own mind, or his goddess. But either way, he thinks he's cracked how to weave time, at least how to unseat it slightly in his favor. He has in his lap a sleeping tabaxi drooling into his lap, and Glory presumably is in her bedroom. Cora's body is completely disappeared, as per usual when she enters the dream world.
I mean, that's just what happens when you go to sleep. Don't tell anyone.
Schrodinger's presence, I like it. Only when you're in a room alone and you fall asleep. When somebody's there to perceive you, your body can't transition. Oh God, I've got a flashback.
You're welcome
to
for the
Mystery Man
existential
now.
dread, everyone.
So, Rodrigo, I am going to jump back into Cora's dream hunt, but just so I know, so I can brew on it. Did Aiden go in? I don't think Aiden went into the dust hole. He actually avoided it like the plague. So you may be asleep as well, at which point you could probably turn up in this scene in a bit.
Okay.
If you do, your character will be dreaming and you can interact, but not in the same way that Cora can. All
right.
Cora can manipulate the dream world and force her will
into
the dream.
Straight up Bloodborne now. Cool.
Yes.
But I don't know. I haven't played that much of Bloodborne. But I'm thinking more of a neuromancy from Changeling the Lost. Is more towards what I'm thinking of, and also a game that I've written recently. So this is dream hunting, and that is a way that the Fae can find out information about the mortal world without stepping into the mortal world, largely because a huge convalescence of Fae turning up in the mundane world can have profound effects on the people around them, most notably mania. One powerful Fae turned up and had a profound effect on you all when General Amara
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's only because you're a cat and you wear your heart on the sleeve. The wrong kind of Fae would have a profound effect on you. But yes, if all of a sudden an entire Fae host turned up and stuck around for too long, everybody would go very slightly bobbins. So we're going to slip back into the dream state, the restricted section of a library that's yet to be named. Leanthus, a gaunt, old, even for an elf, to the point where he looks like an old elf, wrinkled face, his limbs spindly, almost like skeletal or like knotted wood. And he's clutching the hands of Cora, who currently is a 5'2" wood elf male called Darian. And when we left off last time, he said, "Let's provoke her. Let's provoke the Witch Queen," proposing a field trip by which the Witch Queen was going to be provoked in such a way that they believed their presence threatened, that they wouldn't be able to complete a work that Leanthus, believes is quintessential for all altered state beings. Now, altered state beings, I mean vampires, liches, things like that. He believes that when you rip the soul, a vestige can be left behind, which contains the core, broken as it is, and everything else that's been ripped away gets destroyed because it's not attached to the core anymore. So like ripping off an arm. The rest goes on, but the arm is unusable after that. He theorized that this torn state, once they realize that they have no form of afterlife, that they have to perfect a way of preserving themselves through eternity. And that if that's endangered in any way, they will present themselves and be more adventurous. But if they are allowed to pursue this great work on their own, they will stay in their dungeon. Something that a DM always has a little bit of, not trouble with, but normally has to explain away. Why is it that lich that's been around for 500 years has only become a problem now? Yeah.
Because plot.
Because plot, but also...
Because, hey, is that the script?
Well, that's the thing. Either they've been trapped for thousands of years, or there's a reason. Leanthus has a theory. Whether it's correct or not, it's your opinion. He believes that they are happy to develop their great works, their opus, secure themselves an afterlife, unless that's threatened. They're discovered, someone's going to thwart their plans, screw it up for them, at which point they will attack. A kind of almost base survival need. This is what Leanthus is going to do with the Witch Queen. And you don't know how long ago this is, Cora. He could have done this hundreds of years ago. The guy's 3,000 years old. So, he clutches your hand and says, "Let's go, old man. As I say, I'll take the brunt of the blow. I just need you to support me, even at a distance." He stands up with a certain amount of vigor, even for his old frame, to the point where you have a feeling that even though his body, his avatar, is that of an older elf, he may have been younger when this went on. Certainly when you look at your own hands, either this old man is befriending a young elf, or you're both young elves and you're just seeing the dreamer in state. He gestures towards the door. You walk off with purpose, and as the door opens, there's a sudden flush of humidity, and you're in a forest. Tents are erected, and there seems to be ruins nearby. You look around, and suddenly Leanthus is dressed in different garb, and he's looking over a set of plans. "Come on, Darian. Daydreaming again. Playing with that cat of yours. Where is she?"
I look around, and do I see Eclipse and
Yes, I'm
Glory?
just like I'm like sniffing a book at the moment because I am now like the little I have now in the dream accept that I am now a tiny cat, and I am sniffing a book and like reading it. Like I'm actually reading what's in it. Like obviously it's the dream, so like I can't actually read it.
Yeah. It smells like a historical tome.
Yeah. And I meow at Cora.
Darian, come here.
I'm
So-
here.
I believe that this is a former dwelling place of the Witch Queen. Now, it's my belief that she would have kept this as a kind of bolt hole, safe haven. And I believe that if we were to trigger some of the defenses that she had here, not only that, but use it to scry on her, she would feel exposed. and that we would get a palpable reaction. Now, I don't believe that she's capable of teleporting, but I believe that she might be able to cast certain spells at longer distance, especially if we are interacting with one of her previous dwellings. What say you? Too reckless?
It's pretty reckless. But sometimes you gotta try something.
That's why I brought you along. You understand the price of progress. Right. Okay. Again, support me, but I will take the brunt of the blow. He gestures to a ritual circle and says, I'm not so proud as to admit that I'm terrified. I don't know what I'll experience when I'm there. Even though we're outside of the ruins, I believe that there's going to be a potent connection. I've put as many arcane defenses in as I can. I believe that I should not feel any mortal danger. And yet... Take your notes, old man. Take your notes and make sure that we get what we need out of this. Let it be worth the price. You lot over there, lollygagging, get ready to defend me. I'm going to need your wards. And don't forget, when you interact with hers, you might well get a little sting in return. A bunch of mages, one of them Glory, turn around and start providing... Glory, you know this is very basic stuff. Simple ward casting, ritual magic. The breaking of her wards is effectively throwing a crowbar at the wall, but in arcane terms. And you set up with the others, kind of like, okay, that's a weird dream, but sure, I'll see where it leads.
Yeah, why not?
Leonthris gives you, Darian, as you are at the moment, a control rod. You will be the primary observer, my friend. Make it count. Gives it to you. Sets up and goes, I shall primarily be a conduit. I don't know what I'm going to experience. You're all to follow Darian's orders to the letter. Understood?
Meow.
Price of progress. Let us begin. He starts to concentrate, and one of the mages throws a spell at what seems to be your stereotypical tomb entrance, overgrown. They've just carved enough of the hedgerow back to be able to show the entrance, which still has the capstone on. It hits the capstone, and there's a of arcane energy. At which point, his neck snaps back so hard you hear the bones crunch, the vertebrae grinding. He's gritting his teeth. His eyes have rolled back to the point where you can only see the whites. And he shakes pale. And at that point, the control rod starts to feed you information. You know this information is a giant torrent into this person's mind. What is it you're focusing on? Oh yeah, I'm not just telling the story, Kate. That was the intro. What are you trying to get from this?
Good question. I'm trying to... So for Kate, who's not as smart, maybe even as Cora, what he's funneling into read her mind. Like I don't quite know what's going on.
So he's deliberately triggered a trap that he knows that is connected to her
Yes.
through divination means.
Yes.
He's poking the trap and then using that conduit to reach into her mind and say, I know who you are. I know what you are.
Right.
And then to just sample what she sends back.
Okay. So then, yeah, then very, very much the what you are and the elements of where how what this existence is, so that you can try and figure out any weaknesses or any links.
Are you
to things.
trying to figure out what her existence is through kind of philosophical or what would pass for arcane science means, or are you trying to feel it?
I mean, I think Cora's a feeler more than a science person, so yeah, she's trying to feel it.
The first thing that you get is a flash of surprise and fear. Not from Leanthus, but from the target.
Yeah.
Someone who had a baseline of bitterness, almost like acid churning in your stomach. A cold, self-centered feeling by which your own agony eclipses everything around you. To be completely uncaring for anything else around you, to be completely devoid of empathy, because you're so self-centeredly focusing on your own pain. That's the being that you get. If you could shape this being in emotions rather than a physical description, that's what this ball would be. Blindsided to anything other than their own internal drive. It lends a lot of weight to Leanthus's theory that part of her is completely missing. In fact, you can't find even a single grain of compassion or cooperation, just cold, self-centered drive. It lends a lot to his theory. You find with this huge torrent of information whirling around you that you know has gone through Leanthus's head, but you're presumably looking into the deepest recesses of this quite old person's memory, that you're able to access some of what he experienced, maybe in greater clarity than he himself did, as you look at this rictus person kneeling in front of you, blood drooling down one side of his mouth, his teeth gritted so hard that you fear that some of them may snap. What else would you like?
I would like to try and figure out not necessarily what's missing, but if it's somewhere, if it's gone completely, or if it is something that can be found.
You start to look in abstracts, things that aren't there. Her love seems to have disappeared, almost like it was her physical heart that was plucked out of her chest. You look for any form of joy that she would get from friendship, companionship, and it's almost like it's ripped off a specific set of arms that are made to specifically go around another human being or another living being. Any sense of aesthetic pleasure, to walk through a woodland, to see a sunrise, to see a cute animal or something like that. All the things that are simple pleasures to the human spirit, whether you have particular tastes in one direction or another, that seems to be as if she tore out her own eyes. You know that even though she can consume in a fashion in her undead form, to consume living flesh as a form of a power source, there's no pleasure that's derived of it, like you've been told. Vampires get a pleasure from that form of feasting, that form of gluttony and greed that may be part of their twisted form. Like she's ripped out her tongue.
Yeah, so it's
It's
kind
almost
of
like painfully removed body parts that have been ripped from her, further lending to the theory.
yeah. No, that it sound. I mean, it lends to an idea that she, that the feelings got too much and she got rid of them, kind of thing. That she took away the feelings, essentially.
Too many feelings. Let's
Yeah,
get rid of.
too many feelings.
Yeah.
I got the feels, and like so because you're literally describing senses there that she's ripped out, and that definitely feels like, like this hurts too much. I don't want it. I don't want to look at someone and react. I don't want to, have any of these feelings. I mean, I don't know. Like, where would they be anywhere? Like, I think Cora's wondering whether there's a chance of finding the broken parts and putting them back together, and in that way either mending what's happened or self-imploding it through that somehow.
You can see that where it's been torn, you can't conceive of how that could potentially be made whole again. That's not to say it's impossible, but it seems to be beyond your / Leanthros's ken.
Yes. I guess so. Man, I don't know. I'm trying to like what can all that means is there's this broken unfeeling person / thing, but how that I don't know how that helps. Like, does she like so? Do I get the impression of any kind of feelings? Like if I'm looking at this from because there was discussion about whether it would come better from the summer court or the winter court. They both have their own unique, feels. Do I get the impression that there is anything there? Summer court's more sort of rage and passion and blah, blah, blah. And the others is sort of a bit more melancholy side of things from what I gather of sort of sadness and regret,
fear, jealousy,
maybe.
bitterness, regret, sorrow.
Yeah. So I guess I'm also delving into there. I mean, I've already got the impression that there isn't any of that. But I guess delving a little deeper, just going, is there a glimmer of anything left that could indicate which branch of that tree, I guess, we potentially head down?
So there are definitely things that burn brightly. You go from looking at the absences to looking back at what's left. Rage, certainly capable of rage. Hatred, cold, bitter hatred. For anybody who is capable of feeling things that she can't. She hates every living being that can still love, taste, experience, aesthetic pleasure.
So she got rid of it, but she wants to get rid of it almost from everyone. It's kind of...
No, she doesn't care about getting rid of it from everybody else. She just hates them for it. She has no agenda to remove them from everybody else. However, if you start thinking of her agenda, you do see there's a path that goes towards what her agenda feels like. There's a definite hit of summer and winter court. She leans a little more to the winter court. The sorrow that you feel from her is interesting. Roll me an insight check.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think that's particularly great. Oh boy. 8. 5. Yep. 8.
the sorrow that comes from her doesn't seem to be... It seems to be hollow. I can't give you the answer, obviously, because you got an 8. But I can tell you what anybody would see. And that is, it seems hollow. You know how sometimes you see somebody crying and you just can't bring yourself to feel sorry for them?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's false. I'm not saying why you wouldn't feel sorry. But your gut, which is all you're going to get on an 8, is that you don't really care about her sorrow. There's just something about it that's just, it's not provoking anything in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned about sort of agenda and things like that. Can I delve towards that side of things and see if I get any clearer idea of her plan or what her motivations are specifically for progressing? Like, I guess the other thing is like, because there's getting upset by something like this and taking your own life or whatever, but she did something different.
Yeah.
Why does she turn herself into this? Like, what was that motivation? Like, there must be some sort of reasoning behind that. Either it was a mistake, it could be a mistake, or there was a purpose for becoming this essential monster.
Okay, so you're looking like her origin drives and her agenda. Okay.
Yeah, a little
works.
bit. I mean, I know this might, if it's too sweeping, just pick one or whatever. But
no, you can wander into both. You can wander into both.
I'm trying to hone in so that I have something to relate to people.
As you probably got already, some things are riddles that I'm giving to you in the form of narrative, and others are going to be dice rolls. So the agenda first. When you grip her agenda in this moment, the feeling in this moment, in reaction to what Leanthus has done, is like an animal who realizes that it's being attacked by a potential predator gaining the upper ground. Like a mountain lion that's just suddenly being kind of happened upon by a bear. And instead of completely running away, just getting the high ground and hissing. And that's the feeling here of fuck off. But it's not expressed in words. You know, she's capable of words, but that's her feeling inside right now.
So it
is
feels
you've
defensive?
Discovered me, and I am aggressively defensive.
Okay, but this is regarding the old man who's doing a ritual.
Yeah, that's her current agenda.
Yeah.
When you grip this, you realize the agenda stretches through time. My current agenda and my far off agenda. The far off agenda for her is peace, but not at the price of oblivion. You don't even have to roll. You don't have to. That's the feel. She wants to be at peace, but she still wants to exist. And this may lend credence to his personal afterlife theory.
Mm.
However, insight check.
Heresy.
Come on.
You rejoin the cycle. There is no personal afterlife. Such heresies will not
Heresy.
Did you say insight again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 17.
However, you know that peace that she is trying to achieve is beyond her. And there's a certain amount of selfish greed about what she's trying to achieve. She's trying to achieve something that she's incapable of. And she believes that as long as she can put herself in a holding pattern where she can minimize her pain, but keep her place in eternity, she's afraid of nothingness. Moreover, she's afraid of judgment, that if she doesn't sort this out herself, she'll be pulled into a bad place. And she... Yeah, go on. 17. It's not that she doesn't believe that she doesn't deserve the bad place. She just doesn't want it. In fact, she's quite insulted that someone would dare punish her. Keeping track of things on dice here. You talked about her origins.
We have talked about them in the past, so I wasn't delving too much into them, but...
Well, the thing that you said there is kind of like how she got here.
Yeah, like why she chose this path. Because if she's now seemingly regretting it to a certain degree, like, because the only reason the oblivion thing seems to be that she ripped her soul, or whatever we're deciding. So she did that herself, and now she's regretting it. So why did she do it in the first place, I guess?
You feel very strongly about this question. You think it's important. When you try to access this stream of information, you get almost a schizophrenic signal back of the fact that she herself cannot fix her identity on an answer for that. She definitely regrets it.
And we think this is definitely something she did to herself and that wasn't done to her.
That permeates the whole stream. That all of this is her doing. Some thoughts, some feelings, certainly the source of her self-hatred, which burns so hot inside her. Don't need a roll. Now that you look for it, it's there.
And this, from what we know backstory-wise, she was the wife of a king, a witch wife of a king who essentially got bored of her and went for another. And
yep, when she revealed herself to him, which he did eventually because, she thought it was all true love and all the rest of it, he accepted her. He said, yep, that doesn't matter to me. However, years later, he took a mistress, and when she found out that he took a mistress, she did this to herself. That much you know.
Do we know what happened to him and the mistress?
You access the memories, and you get this dark pleasure. This dark, deep pleasure. Charisma saving throw.
Okay. Well, that is a 16. I rolled real bad.
You get this sudden flash of bloody, horrible images of her partially altered form tearing apart a woman. Can't even see the face at this point. The face was the first thing that she tore apart. You can hear the male voice screaming for help in terror of what he's seeing, and her laughing and laughing and laughing. You can feel this dark, manic pleasure, so self-centered that suddenly she has some form of catharsis where she places herself upon a pedestal, drinks in the fear and the pain of those who wronged her, in the hope that she can find some way out the other side of the catharsis. And then a touch of madness. Once the objects of her bitter hatred, torn apart, when the king has long since stopped screaming and lays at the foot of a pile of bodies, guards, footmen, other members of the family. There's a silence, at which point she can't deny her own judgment. And then she screams and screams. As she does so, an arcane effect goes off. Arcana. Roll Arcana.
I should stop using this dice. Okay, 9.
The darkness of the magic involved. This is akin to sorcery. This is not something that is practiced, planned. These are not the scrying of runes. This is somebody who has had access to power of the Maelstrom for some time, and has gained a certain level of sorcery, just being able to pluck power from the source of all magic, to weave it and shape it. And as she does so, she gives herself willingly to it, burning parts of her soul away in order to be able to do this. She starts tearing apart every part of her that seems to hurt, but doesn't realize that she's tearing apart something else. And as she does so, she twists and contorts, lengthens all structure in her body, her skeleton. You feel like you've missed something vital about what she's done. But you know the flavor of it.
I look around for Glory and Eclipse, because I feel that they are here for a reason that's significant, and that they need in on this sort of. I kind of want to just beckon them over to come and hold this rod with me.
You realize that you can just connect them. You can
Then
shape
I do
them.
that. I absolutely do that.
Felicia, Corinne,
Get you dice.
Wow.
Get you dice.
Dice.
everything
Dice
that Cora has just experienced gets downloaded into your head.
Matrix
The
style.
dream shakes around you, and Eclipse, you're no longer a cat anymore. Suddenly you pop into being as the full-blooded Tabaxi. Your lash knife appears out of thin air, and you catch it in your hand ready to defend yourself as this horrible sequence of events appears.
That sounds mighty uncomfortable.
Yeah, nightmare time. Yay.
Glory.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, I was about to say, Glory, this dream that didn't make sense suddenly makes a lot of sense. This is interesting stuff.
Yeah. Like, this is fascinating. Like, you can learn a lot from this magic. Bad things, but a
Cora's
lot.
there. You are still walkers. You're still dreamers. You haven't got as much power as Cora has, but you now get it. This is some sort of dream quest.
Yeah.
You know, you're dreaming of an adventure where you're solving this thing. And of course, it's about the Witch Queen. You guys have been talking about it recently. That all makes sense, right? And now you've got all this extra narrative information. Cora, you realize that you can now talk to them about this subject and get a half-lucid conversation.
Right. Sorry, that was a bit much.
What?
I mean, mysteries to solve. Exciting.
Yes.
Right? So, what do you think?
Sure, but what?
You okay, Eclipse?
I just had a bunch of information downloaded into my brain. I'm fine. I'm
I mean,
Witch Queen,
normal
yes.
dream stuff.
I know Kung Fu.
don't even look
I know.
like me. It's cool. Yeah, any thoughts?
Well, obviously she killed her husband and that and the lady.
Yes.
Which I mean, well within her right. The magic itself is very interesting. Haven't quite seen it used
Again,
in this way
Glory.
before.
We don't need to make moral judgments, especially when they are really fucked up.
Cora laughs at that.
What moral? Like, I'm just stating facts here.
No, when you said she's well within her rights or doing this horrible thing, then that's moral judgment.
Actually, I'm going to jump on this. Glory, I would like you to make me what would be an etiquette roll, which is charisma with proficiency, please.
Yes. This is not the first time you've had me roll this.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be the last, that's for sure.
No, because it's not like
You're
any
giving
of you are
Cora-
proficient in etiquette.
You're giving Cora glory-tinted glasses here.
Uh-huh. Well, you said charisma plus
They're blood
proficiency, right?
splattered.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Nightmare goggles.
'cause
But
that's
They're
still
just called the
stylish,
nightmare
darling.
goggles.
Blood splattered, but stylish.
I mean,
Duh.
it's all the rage.
They're shaped through
21,
acid as well. They got
Simon.
this sort of drip effect.
Okay,
You've
21.
got to make sure, of course, that it's fresh. You cannot have aged.
Felicia, this woman did not do it correctly.
No.
She's
No,
an
she
idiot.
did not.
She didn't do it correctly. This was not an example. I mean, you can get that. I mean, that makes perfect sense to you. Some bitch steals your man or your guy cheats on you. You've got to say there's consequences to these things. It's about saving face, reputation, darling. And so, yes, flaying them alive, maybe doing a bit of a blood eagle on one of them and getting the other one to watch until they claw their own eyes out and, live to tell the tale so that the reputation lives on. Well, that's just self-preservation. I mean, any lucid person would do the same thing. You hear that Ideal in her youth had a couple of trysts that ended, let's say, epically. But there's, the way that she did this, I mean, killing everybody around them, it kind of says a bit rampage, a little bit kind of precious. There's something about it that just seems a little bit kind of like she wasn't in control. I mean, this is not something to respect. The magical prowess goes without saying that, obviously that could have been put to better use. You're just getting someone who's just not with it, darling, just not really, her power, her talent was wasted on her. She's not one of us. She's fickle and frivolent. There's something about her that just, she got herself into this mess not through any form of planning and execution, but more out of misadventure and, well, good luck and bad luck are both forms of luck. So we'll say luck.
Do we get the impression that her sort of witch powers or whatever, her sorcery powers, were originally anyway, did not sort of come from, I don't know, that they were kind of like a thrown on thing that she does, if the fact that she's done this stuff wrong and she's come from like it, does it give the impression that that she almost was gifted these powers at some point, and that's why when this happened she didn't do things the way she should necessarily, or if she had it either inbuilt almost or ingrained into her or trained into her in some better way, like if it was like a wish that I want these powers and then didn't really know how to control them or use them.
Instinctively that Aiden would be able to answer this question. And considering Aiden is asleep, suddenly you can see that one of the Magi, who was basically a background detail, has a very familiar face.
Oh, good. I connect him and bamf all this information into his brain incredibly fast.
Aiden, you were having a lovely dream with no Hector in it at all. It was basically it was about freshly baked bread. You were walking through a village, sun was shining,
Nice.
flowers. You were off to buy some freshly baked bread with a fully alive and not at all ghost-ridden Olivia. and living the good life, suddenly you sneezed, looked up, and you're now wearing a cultist's robe. And there are a number of other people who are wearing what you can only presume are cultist robes. They're actually elven mages, but you've never seen the star before, so you're making an assumption here, because fuck, this type of thing happens to you all the time. And you're unsurprised to see Glory, Cora, and Eclipse involved with whatever the fuck just happened.
So
Olivia is nowhere to be seen.
So I'm not sure if Aiden knows Cora's dream shenanigans, right? But regardless of whether he knows or not, he's just gonna go, just one nice thing. Just one good night's sleep is all I ask for.
There's a poppy seed loaf at his feet, Cora.
I changed that into a really nice sandwich, and I'd be like, "You got snacks? Let's go."
What the fuck do you want?
Your brain. You're good at this. Come help.
Everything that I've said so far in this session has been downloaded into your head.
Yeah,
Aiden.
I wish I didn't wish he hadn't known, but cool. So yeah, what am I doing?
Cora?
Well, what was I just? So I'm trying. So
how would she come across her witch powers? Is kind of
basically
All right, okay.
How would she if it wasn't natural sort of thing? Is there a way to just be gifted something like this?
Well,
for someone inexperienced and unable to control it.
I suppose a Warlock pact could give similar result, but it's usually not quite this uncultured.
Aiden, history and yes.
Thank you. I mean, I always need to ask.
Blood hunter knows how to blood hunt.
Right. That's going to be 16.
16.
Not
Enough.
as high as I would have loved.
This is this is not uncommon knowledge for you. The diff would be a lot higher for someone else. What she refers to as a witch is effectively a hedge mage, almost a hedge warlock, I guess. The wizards themselves, even though warlocks create pacts, warlocks do interact with powerful beings in order to learn the things that they need to learn. And rather than a pact, a trade of some kind is often given, it doesn't have the same tether that the warlock would have. This is kind of hedge warlock / mage rather than a witch that can sometimes be confused with a hag. This kind of hedge magic is normally ritualistic, takes some setting up. Once you've set up the premise, you normally have a pool of spells, some cantrips and things like that you can do that you can draw from. Typically, your kind of green witches, if we're going to carry on using the word witch, would have a bunch of nature spirits that would normally provide them with things. They tend to be like your old healing women, wise women of the village, that kind of thing. Light witches, I'm not going to use white and black witches. Light witches would be more to do with a tentative connection with divinity, lesser divinity, celestials, things like that. Fell witches are kind of your typical diabolists. So Faust, as close to a warlock as you can get. In fact, many of them trip up and just become full warlock. Then you've just kind of got mad mages. The people who sit around in caves, doing cartoon drawings in their own feces, guess which ones they connect to. There are varying levels of this, which is why they often get a bad rap, because around about 60% of them deserve it. But a lot of them do just kind of connect to the spirits. This encompasses a lot of lesser magic users. Shaman, for example, are a typical example of this. And what she considers herself to be a witch is basically that her family, her bloodline, have had a long standing particular set of rituals that they use to gain power. And the problem is that as long as you stay within the safety of the established method, it's fine. You'll have a few tricks. that you have up your sleeve, no problem at all.
Yeah,
However, this spirals out of control so easily.
yeah. Magic users getting their powers from higher sources is nothing uncommon. Either people make pacts, or if they're shrewd enough, they make particular trades. But eventually, those trades just become pacts. Nevertheless, not just with the usual fae, demons, things you would rather not know, but also angels and particularly certain deities that don't like the living.
Well, I mean,
It's
higher divinity also makes pact. I mean, I have a cousin who has one. Well, technically, he's blessed by Bahamut. We don't talk to him anymore.
sadly pact magic is extremely common, which can make our work really complicated.
Absolutely. That is a key point of being a blood hunter, is that unfortunately this kind of hedge magic is like installing a divine slash diabolical modem in you.
Yeah.
Once you've got it, you can access anything, whether or not you have the protection or not. In some cases, it's like plugging your microwave directly into a nuclear reactor.
So yeah, the Witch Queen is not particularly special in that regard, but she is special in how powerful she is. People who practice this sort of hedge magic slash pack magic don't usually get abysmally powerful as she has.
Okay. So, one, where does she get this power from?
It's a good question. Who did she do a pact with?
Both
That's
Glory and Aiden roll me Arcana each, not with advantage. You're doing split advantage here.
Okay. Well, Arcana is my good stuff. I need
Yes.
higher intelligence for some
Then I've
reason.
got something for Eclipse, but this is going to be
yes.
kind of a simple.
That's a good roll. 25.
Aiden?
Oh shit! I thought I didn't know
You're doing one roll each.
You froze when
All right.
yeah. Give me a moment. Arcana. Oh, I'm good at Arcana. Natural 20 plus 10.
Ooh. Okay, between the two of you,
30.
in a dream state, you're kind of sharing a consciousness here. Both Glory and Aiden, you look at each other, suddenly coming to the same realization. Whatever power she was able to draw in this cataclysmic event, that's her lot. Because this kind of hedge magic requires a full and functioning soul. The second she did this to herself, she cut herself off from her source. She can't contact them. She can't draw any more power from them.
Interesting.
Eclipse.
Why was she?
Doesn't mean she can't use other souls. Go.
I'm using a lot of magical background, character background, but also character opinion here. Your character has always judged these things by the harshest denominator, which sometimes, as you've seen by being thrown into an oubliette, is a detriment. However, if you're committed to your course and you stay on character, which you have done, you are capable of noticing certain things and feeling certain things. I want you to roll me insight.
Insight, okay. It's not the worst, but it's not great either.
It's a lower DC because of who you are.
That is 15.
More than hit it. Getting the sense of all the stuff that she did and how she did it and when she did it, you're seeing some self-centered little bitch having a tantrum. Not that Eclipse would ever put it in so many words, but my God, This girl's precious. Oh my freaking God. Just get over it. Yeah, sure, you're hurting. Go, you know.
You don't need to create your own
Eat cookie
fucking
dough,
demi
get
plane.
a cat. Find a hotter guy, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Did you really have to do all this shit? I mean, this is all about you, darling. That's it.
Yeah.
That's just pulsing in your head right now. I mean, you were indifferent to the fact that she was an undead because you're just like, oh, it's an undead. Never mind the person before. Now that you've got this information about the person before, you can't tell who's worse, the girl she was before or the fucking monster she is now.
Yeah. Yes, your boyfriend cheated on you. Boo fucking who? Like, sure, it hurts, but yeah, let's go and murder an entire town. And like,
I'm not saying this is correct. I'm saying this is what Eclipse is feeling.
Yeah. Murder an entire town
valid.
and like try to create your own fucking afterlife because I guess you needed to be that much of a snowflake.
It seems a little extra.
Okay, Boomer.
I'm not Boomer, I'm Gen X, bitch.
No, I'm calling Eclipse a Boomer because she's like, these bloody snowflakes.
In this case, it's almost applicable. You know, really, you know, there were lots of things she could have done. Tearing her soul and mutating herself into a greater undead.
Seems a little like
I don't want to seem judgy, but that seems to be what Eclipse the direction
Eclipse goes on a 25-minute tirade about how she should just pull herself up by her bootstraps, and it's not really that
pain
bad.
Is real.
And that in her generation, that she walked up a hill in winter in snow just to get where she needed to go, and of course the way to get home was also up a hill.
Congratulations,
she was always working hard.
Congratulations, the stream has just caused psychic damage to everyone watching it. Well done.
Yeah.
Well, that's our aim every week, isn't it? Psychic damage.
True.
Not quite that bad, but she thinks like, really, like, yes, your partner cheated on you. That sucks. But this is a bit of an overreaction.
I don't know if this is relevant, but I feel like this pact might have been made for the sole purpose of getting into that relationship, and that's why it's particularly.
I mean, she was a hag before she came into the relationship.
She was never a hag. She's right. A human hedge mage or a human witch.
Right.
Which unfortunately is a nebulous term in the same way that it covers pretty much everything.
Right, she was a magical practitioning lady.
Well, we don't know like how far. Yeah, but like that might have been done literally because she wanted the relationship with the king for some reason.
The promise for more power is like almost 90% of all pacts that usually become liches in my line of work.
It could be that she. Yeah, so it could be that she made this pact to be able to essentially marry the king that would give her extra power or whatever it was that she was after from this relationship. And then when he essentially rejected her, that pact she made is in her eyes at least null and void, and therefore like that's an extra, like we made this pact so this could happen, and now that hasn't even happened.
Simon.
Maybe.
I'll get to you. Just need to quickly correct Kate on something.
Okay.
You were told that as part of the story that for generations her family had the ability to have this kind of magic. I'm not saying that she didn't use her magic to snare the king. You don't know that either way yet, but she didn't specifically get the power to ensnare the king. The power was there beforehand. Whether or not she used it to that end is something you could probably
so it
find
is
out.
a family thing, but is it possible that the family thing has come from a pact?
Actually, well, that's a good point. However, Aiden just thought to himself, well, that's kind of tragically ironic, the fact that she would sell her soul or make a pact for more power to court the king, and then the king ends up rejecting her and going for someone else. and an idea just crossed his mind in terms of who could have made this pact. What are deities or entities or whatever that relish in providing monkey paw wishes?
We're dealing with that type of situation.
So you know that, as I said, when used wholesomely, this power, and for generations by the sounds of it, because they got to the point where they could have generations, probably was with some pretty good and reasonable beings. That's not to say that they didn't suddenly go onto the dark web.
But
And
yeah,
also, you know that if she probably wouldn't have sold her soul to get the king, because she tore her soul, and you can't do that if it
no,
belongs to someone
right.
else.
But I was
she,
thinking, yeah.
yeah, but she could have at the end done something along those lines. And I like your theory.
Also, I know it's a bit early, but can we take our 10-minute break now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yep, we're going to take a 10-minute break and let people regroup as well, considering this is a little bit of a mystery, albeit a weird one in dreams. So yeah, we will see you in 10 minutes time and hopefully uncover a little more. See you then. Bye. Hey, Dylan. Welcome back, everybody. We've been discussing crashing stock markets and fuck hedge
Time
fund
to
movies.
stop discussing stock market memes and start doing some D&D memes.
Yeah.
Well, I
exactly.
mean, the best meme so far is the whole thing with Animal Crossing having trained us in how to ruin the stock market through the stock market.
Mhm.
So now we just need to how to impeach a president update for Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Oh my god! If that, I wondered what it would be. That what would get me to do New Horizons would be the impeachment DLC. Yeah, there we go. We found it. We found it, kids. You give me a New Horizons DLC.
Your character gets publicly executed by
Yeah.
Dark Isabel in the town square. Dark Isabel is just Isabel, but she's allowed to say fuck.
I've already said that when we come to the Great Purge, and it's all of their time to go to the gallows, I'm going to be right at the front. I'm going to be right at the front watching.
Are you going to be like
Anyways.
the women at hangings where they're there with their knitting?
Oh yeah, and it will be crocheting because that's all I can do. I can't knit, but I can kind of crochet.
See,
Speaking
you
of
went
D&D
apologetic. You should have said I'm doing crochet because I've got some class, motherfuckers.
Speaking of D&D memes, please look at the artist's room on the Chaotic.
Yes, do look at Artist Room. Vic has done it again.
Vic has done it again.
Yes.
Oh, I shall check that later. So
No, check it now, Simon.
you have.
You have a computer that can handle it.
Brilliant, Vic.
Anyways,
So you
Where's the
guys
clips
are now discussing this thing, and bear in mind, this torrent of information is still going through the rod as this poor.
we're gonna wait. Everyone
is
except for
having a
Cora is gonna
seizure in
wake
front
up
of you.
with the worst migraine in the morning.
So, Cora, you're the conductor of this fucked up symphony.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Let's go.
And I know you've spent, the whole break agonizing over the masterstroke that's going to break this wide open. So,
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
Kate's so smart like that.
We
you've
were
got so far
rating Kate for other
a
things.
hedge witch.
Not to insult
mage
anyone,
that's
but this
been-
group has one brain cell, and Simon has it.
I've not been good to it over the years. So yeah, you've got someone who's grown up in a magical background, hedge magic, did something desperate, maybe something desperate to get the king in the first place, ended up freaking the fuck out when he took a mistress, so much so that she ended up going on a killing spree, twisting her form, changing into what Leanthros believes to be a form of avatar. That is, it's not a person, it is just a twisting of that person into a representation of part of the whole, losing the rest of it, and now she is this twisted fucking creature. Kind of classified as a greater undead at the moment because she ain't alive, but probably just some sort of aberration, monstrosity, who knows. You now have a bit of a think tank of most of your party. The addition of Aiden bringing in a new angle on witchcraft. Not a dirty word in this world, but often maligned because it is dangerous compared to the more conventional arcane paths. So you already have an idea of the bitterness, the hatred, jealousy, the self-centered part of her. This is giving you more of a lock on this being. One of the things you are getting is that she herself probably doesn't dream or even sleep, which means that hunting her directly through dreams is not available. But by using this in the same way that scrying requires a certain link with the individual, you're feeling your link, not necessarily empathy, but just understanding grow. And this should help you be able to locate her in Mundus and bring the summer horde to wherever the hell she is. But there's more to learn. What would you like to try for next?
Weaknesses?
You do get that Lyanthus was on the ball with regard to this feral survival fear. You know that she is somewhat intelligent. With this link that you have with her, she's capable of intelligent thoughts, even if certain thoughts are banned from her mind. There's still a form of intellect.
Yeah.
As such, you can expect tactics. The upside is that there are certain feral compulsions, very similar to the fact that the Fae have, that you have a feeling she won't be able to avoid. Even maybe pulling her away from her potential self-preservation. As for her power, she seems to embody this monstrous nature. You recall back to the attacks on Farewell's caravan, at which point you can feel a strange ribbon of thread, go off into the distance as you suddenly recall Farewell. Farewell's caravan, she moved with a preternatural speed, her claws unbelievably sharp. And this wasn't a dream, this was looking back in time, it wasn't embellished. You saw that her teeth parted flesh very easily, very quickly. She seemed to have some form of magical presence, but she did have 4 magi, like 4 casting undead as her retinue.
Yes.
Why would she want that if she was fully proficient in Arcana? An Arcanist would normally want meat shields to allow them to be able to cast unimpeded. That's what Glory has you guys for. So
yeah.
there's
So
a
it's
certain kind of
likely she's
tactical
lost
weakness
her
there.
Power?
It certainly suggests that direction.
Also, the thought process did kind of sidetrack the main driving question, which was weaknesses, right? What she is weak to.
Well,
and I
she's
think
weak
Aiden can
because
help.
she doesn't have magic, maybe.
Right. However, I think Aiden will be able to step in. That this is literally his expertise.
Oh, yeah,
So,
sure. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I mean, she's an undead, so she's a particularly powerful one. So that means that no matter what, the light of the gods is going to burn particularly badly. And considering how far gone she is, the more she will burn. Anything else specifically? Why else she would have magi with her is a good question, though.
When Aiden says this, Lyanthus goes, "Burn!" And as he says that, there's a shriek that seems, if you were to give it a gender, possibly the edges of femininity to it, but mostly this monstrous, sinuous scream.
Okay. Maybe fire.
Looks
or...
like the ritual is working.
Goody.
There's also the thing that do we really know why Farewell's caravan, like why his people, is it
When
because
you mention
Yeah, I was
Farewell-
gonna say, why did he attack? So it's Farewell here now.
Yeah, like
no.
Farewell is literally
Cora can
connected to
feel
the
that Farewell is in the dreaming.
I'm putting out I'm calling him almost like in a sense. If I feel he's here, I'm gonna be like trying to draw him here.
The Discord call notification is popping up, and Discord is just
Beep, beep.
in Farewell
have
is
a
just
call.
ignoring it. Yeah.
Cora, you can feel a pall of darkness around your friend. A simple beckoning by thought is not enough. You'll have to actually announce and command him to come to your side by word. What do you say?
Weird bliss.
Family. If it's just our word.
No, you have to. You have a feeling that this is an act of will, and you have to speak to Farewell, who currently can't respond.
Hmm.
Farewell. There is more nightmares to live through to get to the other side. Come help and end them. Try and pull him.
Sure.
Your words are gentle, and yet not coddling. Farewell, you find yourself adrift in absolute darkness, curled into a ball in a stance of impotent despair, the screaming of those that you love echoing in your ears, shifting humanoid forms at the very edge of your vision, almost like you can see thousands upon thousands of miles away. A gentle voice, a familiar voice, reaches you in the void. And suddenly, pain, but a different kind of pain, along your back, your legs, like you've fallen from a great height. You realize suddenly the darkness is that your eyes are closed. And Cora, lying at your feet with a wet crotch, is Farewell. He's dressed exactly as he was in the caravan, except his jerkin is also slick with sweat, as is his brow.
Right. And just to clarify for
Glad
anyone
you to
new
join
watching,
us.
it's very clear to Cora that is drool from Eclipse lying in his lap and nothing else. Okay, I just want to put that out there. Just want to put
Thank you
out
for
the wet
clarifying
crotch comment. All right. Great. I go to him and I like just take his hand and say, "You're needed. We need to do this to get to the other side." And I'll try and gently as possible download all that crap into his head.
It's like,
It's not
okay,
gentle.
it's okay. Boom, bitch!
Should overload. Give me a moment.
Farewell, you probably don't even get your eyes fully open, although compared to the absolute darkness of your previous scene, if this was real, your eyes would be hurting right now. But thankfully, that kind of thing doesn't occur in dreams. But the sensory overload of this new scene hits you momentarily after everything that has been said in this scene so far and in the dream so far gets loaded into your head as can only happen in a dream. The entire narrative thrown into your mind. You are a dreamer here, by the way. So a walker like the other three.
No, 4. Oh, 3. Yeah, duh.
Yeah, Cora's here physically.
Yeah, sorry. I counted you all. Hi.
Glad for you to join us.
Good.
Lionthras
I see you had
grits his
some fun.
teeth, and you can hear a tooth crack.
Ugh.
And he goes, "Burn! Burn in judgment, you bitch!"
I'll be honest with you, Cora. It will be a lot easier to concentrate if we didn't have to, you know.
I this is kind of how we're connecting. This is how we're figuring this out.
Oh, joyous day.
Am I still asleep?
Yes, you are definitely just in a dream. This is all
And
fun.
no, we're not gonna wake up. We'll rest it tomorrow. I fucking assure you of that.
I give myself bunny ears for a second just to like
Yeah.
try and be like, see, it's just a dream. Everything's great, and then
Poppy
Just
Cora.
having a nice time
I
with
mean-
Olivia.
To be completely honest, like that's not difficult to do. I know that you can create illusions.
Okay,
It's
sure.
not really like.
Okay, you're just a smart ass in dreams as well. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Eclipse was an actual cat earlier.
Yes, it was
And
great.
Glory was a statue.
Yes,
It was
that had
weird.
boobs
In a
and talked.
Anyways,
You have very strange dreams.
well,
I mean, what's going on with that? And I point at the guy that was like, that's just like burning. I'm just like,
Oh, he's doing a ritual to piss off the witch queen.
oh.
It's apparently extremely painful. It's also really disconcerting.
it possibly broke him completely.
No, and when Glory makes that noise, Aiden immediately goes, "Your experiences are not universal."
Yeah, farewell. The straw-colored fluid coming out of one of his ears suggests that if this is a dream based on a memory, he loses a lot this day.
I sort of go, like, you hear this like popping sound as like Farewell sort of like cracks his back and his shoulders together, like just like stretches out and his knuckles go and like all the just all the joints. He's like, right, sort of wanders off towards him and just like gets right up in front of his face, and just sort of like does that thing because like Farewell's like he's quite a tall guy. Just sort of squats down at eye level. Huh. Okay.
He's broken one of his molars, and it's loose in his mouth. He's gurgling slightly, but still breathing. In fact, hyperventilating through his nose. His eyes are rolled to the back of his head. The straw-colored fluid coming out of his left ear, and his mouth is bleeding.
Cora, can I interact with this, or is this a memory? Is this a memory, or back in time, or just a dream showing you what happened? I've already changed fate once, apparently.
Oh.
And wait, I need to tell you all about that.
Right. Okay.
Oh, yeah. The boss, not happy.
Oh.
Very upset.
Okay.
Anyways,
I don't think you can do much here. I can.
Eclipse like finds a piece of paper and writes down in the biggest letters, "I told you so," and shoves it.
Well, you're in a dream. You can just make it appear out of nowhere. Just be like balloons.
As it appears, I turn around and go, "Yeah, but now I can do this," and I cast three fire bolts at it. So just like Farewell touches this he's got his usual on his right hip, he's got his usual prayer book and stuff, but now across the small of his back is this new bound book, because he's actually got like somewhere to put it, and because this is the dream and he's substantiating stuff that he believes he would have on him, he just simply the cover glows, and from his hands these three rays of fire shoot out towards it.
Specifically, the same ray of fire 3 times.
Yeah.
Because Chronomancy, you only need to cast 1 and then just copy and paste that time stream.
It's literally just copy paste in reality.
So, you know.
We should get you one of those belts that accommodates both books on the hip. It's a bit awkward having to reach behind you.
I feel like you're subtweeting.
I found that actually I don't need to touch it, as I can remember a lot of it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Or I kind of think that I'm touching it, and then I kind of do, but I don't. It's really weird in a wibbly wobbly kind of way. It's very strange.
Either way, it's something to experiment with.
Regardless, I rather not have to hear the sounds of someone burning to death for a lot longer. So I would
this guy doesn't seem to be burning. His skin hasn't been burnt. He's telling the witch queen
her
to burn.
Yeah.
She's burning.
I know, but Simon, it's still nightmarish imagery.
Oh yeah,
and the sounds he's
and
making
they're having
are
a casual. They're having a casual accessories conversation in front of a guy
Well,
having the worst possible seizure you can have.
Yeah, I place my hand on his forehead.
Fashion is
Do
more
I have
important.
any like actual grip there?
Yeah. You place your hand on his head. His head is slick with sweat. He's trembling. He's cold and pale. Give me an insight check.
Sure. Oh no, that's the wrong dice. You don't roll a D10 for that. That's a 26.
With a 26, you kind of touch him, and yeah, this is a person who is completely devoted to a single opus, a single great work. He believes that he needs to cement himself in history as somebody who has been a brick in a very great war, a man that has suffered great loss, and believes that everybody is responsible for doing their part to prevent such losses from happening in future. He is a zealot of achievement and arcane research. He's willing to endure this pain if it means understanding this. You have a feeling some of his backstory is that the theory that he gave Cora, he may have met somebody in the past who did something similar, or may even have loved them or be related to them. That seems to be of little consequence now. He's completely obsessed with the Witch Queen. But he has no connection to her.
Well, what we were discussing before you got dropped into this lovely conversation was particularly why she attacked your caravan. We're still stuck on that. I personally believe that as an undead being, no matter how much higher thinking like capability they possess, they're still gonna have quite a bit of a grudge against the Raven Queen, given that she hates undead and the feeling is mutual on the other end. But I think there's more to that.
I think you're right, and there's probably a good chance it's got a lot to do with stuff that we held. But I'll be honest, and this will sound very callous of me, and I am sorry for this, but there's a little we can do to help him, but there's a lot he can do to help us.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
Yes. This is a
Lovely.
dream of a memory.
Yeah, I was gonna say if this is a memory, then this has already happened, and there's really not much we can do.
So,
Cora, you look into the corner of this scene, and you see a man who is frail, skeletal.
Mm-hmm.
You can see next to him seems to be alchemical supplies, almost scattered about the place, reminiscent of an opium den.
Right.
And he is currently in fitful sleep, whimpering, not screaming. You have a feeling that he doesn't scream anymore, but whimpering, twitching as he's recalling all this. I will remind you, Farewell, that you have discovered that one of the potential links with the box is if one was to try and create a self-sustained demiplane in the metaplane between current existing planes, you could use things that have their own internal power supply, like souls, to try and fund that. And considering the box that was taken from the caravan seemed to be, albeit a very small, doorway into the void. That's as far as you got.
Yeah,
It was before Christmas, so I thought I'd remind you.
No, I appreciate that. There's two things I think I want to do, but like, I think the first one is probably the first one that comes to mind is he's obviously joined to her through this ritual. They are linked in some way. That's my understanding. In order for him to reach out and attempt to curse her or draw her ire, he has...
Is this Lanthrus's ritual, yeah? that you're talking about?
Yeah. The guy I've got my hand on.
Yeah. You look around you, take it in because you can do that in dreams. You're like, yeah, this guy, he knew something that she was tethered to through scrying divinity. Sorry, not divinity, divination. And basically went up and hooked up to it. He poked it so that it would be foremost in her mind. And then he rode the wave in. Not considering she's quite a powerful being to start with, quite a reckless thing. You're a Shadowrunner.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, you're a Shadowrunner, Nick. This is like some hot sim Decker shit going on.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought he was doing. You don't run this hot. So what I'm going to do is I keep my left hand on his forehead. I summon the knife into my right. And I trying to think of the nice way, the safest way to do this. And then I stop and go, shit, I don't have all of my supplies.
Well, it's the dream.
Yeah.
What?
You're dreaming.
We're in
them
a
up.
dream.
Dream them up.
If you need something, just think about it and it shall appear.
You sure?
Yeah.
Try it.
Okay. I don't really dream, so this is. It's nice. It's quiet.
Considering there's a guy kind
He's
of
like,
groaning and whimpering, comparatively, it's pretty quiet. Yeah.
Comparatively.
But also,
it's quiet.
he's saying that in front of Aiden, who just got dragged from a really nice dream into this fucking nonsense.
Literally just got pulled from Stardew Valley. Yep.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, good, oh, bully for you."
Yeah. So Farrell does that awkward thing where he kind of just puts the knife in his hand and okay, in his mouth, sorry, and goes, okay, I need some ointment, please.
Some ointment. Yeah.
And he's like, and
I love the fact that you've got a knife that was given to you by the Dark Sage. Sorry, the Dark Muse, sorry, that literally splits fate in two, and you've put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
what could possibly go wrong?
It's one of those ones where it's like
You just change your dental records.
it's like Farewell knows as well. Like he's had it for a while now. He's gotten to that point where whilst he still not entirely likes it, he's unfortunately become rather accustomed to it, and so its weirdness has sort of lost some of that. I don't like touching this thing, and so absent-mindedly, because he's had to use it so much, he's just sort of like, all right, okay, on hand.
Yeah, and to fate rend, you have to. It's an act of will, so you can't accidentally fate rend something.
So he's sort of like unscrews
imagine?
the ointment, sort of like puts the thing back in his other hand, rubs it under his eyes, and Farewell casts True Sight on himself.
Okay. Okay, this is going to be interesting.
True sight. in a
Would I
dream.
recognize what he's doing spell-wise? Because I can do True Sight.
You do it in a slightly different way, but you do recognize it. Not only
Sorry,
that,
it's True Seeing.
True seeing. But you can you have full command of this dream at the moment, Cora. You've kind of taken control of it. So you know what he's going to do before he goes to do it because you can read the script.
Okay.
And
I
so-
try and assist him then, and I try and do the same.
Farewell seems to need to go through the motions. The second that you decide to do it, it
I'm
happens.
just going to double check that I definitely can. I'm pretty sure I took it.
And then
As a thing.
And then what I do is I take
There you go,
whilst I'm
True
looking in the ethereal, what I'm trying to now find is I'm looking for that magical binding that may just reach off into the distance that is linking the guy that's suffering with the Witch Queen.
First, you don't see it, but then you focus. There it is.
And I'm like, And so I take Fate Render And I don't cut into it because I don't want to disturb it, because I'm too concerned about changing something. But it's more the fact that this is my spell focus. This is something that all my magic now goes through, both divine and now arcane. And I'm trying to sort of use its innate ability to weave and understand the bindings between fate and other such things to almost become attuned to that link, to give me a way into it, or at least a signal to follow that's more accurate than Cora's just, I think it's in that direction. So almost like we're getting a GPS. And then there's a final spell that I'd like to, using my 7th level spell, to cast. And that's going to be Planar Ally.
Oh fuck.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
we're gonna wake up with such a fucking killer migraine. Oh my god.
Oh,
Well,
I need to look
figured-
something up. The
I
metaphysics
figured-
of this is gonna go crazy.
If this is a dream, and you're all telling Farewell that he can reach out and do what he needs to do, and there's no material component requirement or limitation, and he now has the 7th level spell slot, that fuck it, let's go big or go home, and let's really
migraine
see
is
what
gonna-
some of the stuff that can do.
The migraine is gonna be so bad. All our characters are gonna get the fucking auras. Like that. That's how bad it's gonna get.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, right.
Simon's regretting everything now. Farewell's in there.
Yeah,
No,
he sure
it's
fucking.
still- there are layers upon layers. We're deep in the inception here. However, he's done something that is an act of will that shouldn't necessarily work in the dream world, or if it does work, the creature that comes only looks like a planar ally and is in fact a fae just playing the role. But because this is an act of faith, you can have an act of faith even in your dreams, which technically means that it can contact a celestial.
And
So
all we hear is a
it's-
rather large sort of sound.
The worst
as, like,
thing is
we
that-
go deeper.
No, the worst thing is that that implies that the entire campaign is a possibility. It could have been taken all inside a dream.
yes, I could
Yes.
write an entire
We are
campaign
in a
that
simulation.
literally ends with "and you wake up."
Again, we must go deeper.
Nick, what's
13
Farewell's
Sentinels
spell
immediately.
casting modifier?
For cleric or for wizard?
Both.
11 for cleric and 10 for wizard.
God, I can feel the smug coming off from fucking Nick's camera so badly.
I've just realised that my boy rather accidentally has become quite magically stonk.
Yeah.
He has the magical stonks.
Fucking magical
I
stunts
mean-
go up.
Farewell is literally the best himbo to have on your team.
He's not even a
But he's
himbo.
not even a himbo. He's
smart.
really intelligent. Like his intelligence
He's
score
got
is
an
really
18.
high.
He's got an 18 intelligence, but no, he probably is an unrealizing himbo.
Farewell,
If
who are you contacting? And or which direction of kind of celestial kind of thing like that are you going to be calling out to? And what is the task that you're going to ask of them?
so, it's going to be divine. It's going to be not an obvious celestial. It's almost like just it's like crows is kind of something that would take the shape of a crow, an ally, because the command that I want to give is to spy and report back the exact location, and something that could take that form will be able to know where it is, and be able to report back an aerial view, will not appear out of place because they often scavenge at sites of death and are not unknown to be there. And they are small enough that they won't necessarily be... I mean, if you get some big fuck-off honking angel chasing you across, existence, you know somebody's onto you. but you might not notice the almost like in Lord of the Rings when Sauron summons all of the bats. It's you might not notice a big flock of birds or bats or something along those lines that are spying on you. It's kind of that idea.
Okay.
Farewell knows though, does from the download, Farewell knows that this is kind of just a memory, and that the creature that is being sort of scryed on right now isn't essentially in the dream. So they're not on this plane.
I guess the way I'm looking at it is that it's
Plus
the
is a memory?
same individual.
Okay.
It's
Yeah. So you're not trying to cast it into the dream, are you, or are you?
Well, I don't know, because that's
I don't want
the
to
interesting
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. It's the interesting conversation point on that. Is the whole has to be some kind of translation into the real, because you're doing something here, and it's quite clear from what you do when you go to sleep. You change things, even subtly, when you're asleep. So. And I apologize if this is completely beyond anything that the spells can do, and feel free to completely tell me no, that's not possible. What I can do.
Okay.
It's just
it will do something.
The idea
it's
for me
the
is...
what it does that is interesting to me right now.
Yeah.
Because there are so many narrative options, and the dice roll chose which one. Okay. So Cora and Farewell see something different to Felicia, Glory, Eclipse, and Iden. So I'll start with those three. Glory, Eclipse, and Iden. Two beautiful birds of paradise turn up. Multicolored. One of them clearly male with a huge plumage, and one of them female. And they land nearby and seem to look on with kind of angled, curious heads. That's all you see. Farewell and Cora. Appearing in front of you are two beings. One of them is tall, elven in appearance, and androgynously male, I guess. So only barely giving off a kind of masculine vibe. The second being seems to be, and he's got mostly wearing beautiful verdant greens with a trim of silver. And it looks like it's proper silver weave as well. The also gender nondescript person next to them, maybe leaning a little more to AFAB, and
I don't know.
wearing more of a
what does AFAB mean? Sorry.
Assigned female at birth.
Oh,
so doesn't appear to show many outward signs of identifying as female, but based on just what you see in front of you, in terms of sex rather than gender, female. Sorry if I'm messing up words. It's late.
It's late.
No, it's fine.
This other figure, they appear to be less remarkable than the tall elven one. They seem to be very humble. The robes almost look maybe scholarly or monkish, as in divine monk, not monk, and maybe kind of slightly clerical. You're not quite sure. They both stand over the being. Lyanthras. They both stand over Lyanthras, and they're talking just conversationally, almost ignoring Farewell and Cora. Well, all of you, but certainly Farewell, even though he summoned them. And the elven fellow goes, an interesting concept trying to do this in a dream. The robed figure says, yes, not entirely sure that he's going to get what he wants, but he might be able to use it. What do you think? Well, a foot in either world is always useful. Let's see what we can do. And for Farewell, you know that there's a presence drawing you to a particular part in the world. In fact, you know that you could go to this part of the world anytime that you like. You would know how to get in to this place. You know how to find it, even though it's hidden. Basically, a little marker has appeared on your map. What Glory, Eclipse, and Iden see is that the two birds of paradise tear off in a particular direction. And with that, the two figures fade from Farewell and Cora's sight.
That was eventful.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I found out where she's hiding then, a potential layer, or where she may be now. It could be any number of possibilities, but if it's a possible either former or current layer, and she's got anything there, we may find a wealth of information that will assist us in destroying her.
We should be able to know, because I know where she is direction-wise. So if your location is different, then it's now.
Yeah, and I figured that, you've got all those sun nights?
The summer court. To be honest, yes. There's also there. It sounds like the winter court might be a thing too. We kind of need to figure out if one or the other is better. I don't think I could get them working together. Annoyingly.
Well, no, I imagine they're diametrically very, very not working together. But it's up to you. I mean, we could potentially, if they are in two different places. I mean, I get this sensation that mine is a very direct, fixed point that I could go to and maybe bring you with. Whether that's in the dream or the real, I'm not sure. And we'll just remember what happened last time I tried to bring you all into... I accidentally...
You triggered all of this. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we all remember how that ended. And yeah, anyway.
Went very well.
Aura, two things. First, a perception check.
Sorry, I heard aura, and for some reason my brain decided that Aura Prime in chat was going to do it. Right, okay.
Yeah, come on, Aura. Roll a perception check for us, dude.
Perception. I'm going to try this dice. Okay, perception 15.
Okay. When you're talking about the courts, a cold wind blows. Secondly...
it's confusing because she was hearing the whole burning thing, so she was totally thinking that the summer court was the one, and now you're just telling you the cold winds. I mean, yeah, that's true. Cold
when
burns.
Farewell talks about a location, you feel like you could scene shift there.
I would suggest that maybe, we gather some backup. I mean, it's up to you whichever one you want to pick.
To be honest, it won't be a fight here. She doesn't dream. She won't really be here. You can't fight her here.
No, I don't mean fighting her. I mean fighting whatever she chooses to protect herself with. She's powerful, old, canny, and is probably smarter than all of us put together. That means arcane traps. That means powerful planar allies. That could also mean that she herself does not dream. Who's to say her minions don't and they protect her in the dream?
Do I feel, Simon, that I could take us there, but in a kind of ethereal kind of way, that we kind of like are just hovering and scrying almost on a scene?
If you take them there, they will be completely safe. As by your patron's words, the only one who could potentially gain any form of damage is yourself.
Okay.
they would be what everybody is in a dream. They would have the hero powers that you would have in any dream.
Okay.
And the only one who could potentially get hurt is yourself.
Do I feel
But
like it
not
bamf
from
us
the
back
real
out
world.
again?
Hmm?
Oh, what? Do I feel like if I took them there and something goes wrong, do I feel like I would have enough control to be able to take us back to essentially the Summer King? Like to get us
You
out?
feel like you've got enough control, yeah.
Well, I will relay that that there's no danger to any of them, and I can take care of myself or whatever. I don't know that it's worth looking.
Cora's strong. Cora, fine.
All right, great.
Remember, apes strong together.
So when you said I could scene shift, so does that give me an idea that it is in the dream, or that I could see the place in the dream, even if it's in real world kind of thing?
Farewell has a place that he can dream about. If he chooses to go there in the dream, you can pull everyone with him, and that you will travel at the speed of montage, because that happens in dreams.
Okay.
Slightly slower than than traveling at the speed of map.
Okay.
True.
Canonically, it is slightly slower than speed of map.
Yes.
Right.
Map is faster than montage,
Map. Okay.
but not as cool.
Oh, of course, and it's very important that way. I mean, they've gone. We could go there now. How would we gather stuff? We don't know what is there, so how can we possibly defend from it? This is a dream. We already know we can pull whatever we need. So if we need something when we're there, we pull it. We create it.
You're the expert on dreams.
Well,
I'll be
I'm
guided by
learning.
you.
I'm intrigued as you are to see what they are seeing and learn more. I'd be up for going if you are willing to trust me and try.
Sure, of course. I just need a moment.
Okay.
And I walk back over to our suffering friend, and I kneel near sort of his ear, and place my hand once again on his head, and as I sort of just whisper something into his ear around sort of, thank you for his sacrifice and thank you for everything that he will do and for giving us this way. I try and cast Death Ward on him. I just want to.
You just wanna mess
Can't.
with time.
There is this innately inquisitive part of Farewell that can't help. It doesn't feel like this is where the story ends. From everything you've described and everything that you've explained, that I don't feel that this individual's story ends here. He may not live the rest of his life well, but there's something more here that maybe, I mean, I could be reading it completely wrong, and feel free to tell me if I'm reading it completely wrong. That sort of leads me to think that life is not quite as simple for this, and he may have to suffer on just a little bit more.
Okay. You bastard.
I think for the first time in the entire campaign, as far as I can remember, the fucking crack appears in Simon's facade.
You are the one that quite happily gave me these.
I wrote a dramatic fucking scene, you bastard.
And you did.
Cora,
and Farewell is giving all of its.
Yeah,
And
it's a
it's
scene that
still
you
a
just
dramatic
fucked up,
scene.
but I'm going to do it anyway, just with a different ending. Cora. with this promise given to Lyanthus in his dreams, to his dream form, you look into the corner of the scene and you see once again the kind of opiate Milk of the Poppy style alchemy kit, the fitful sleeping swelled joint skeletal elf. When he gets given this assurance that you got this, he does a big sigh. And his entire body goes limp. As his body goes limp, all the color drains from the dream around you, about to fade to black. When suddenly he goes... and the colors return. Yeah, bastard. You have a feeling that he was about to let go. Instead, he's snoring peacefully and loudly.
I go up to Farewell and I take his hand and I give it a squeeze and I reach out for one of the others, and see if they all connect. What?
I look down at Cora and I go,
No, you don't look down at Cora. You look at Cora.
Oh, yeah,
I look at
Somehow,
Cora.
strangely, you know it's Cora, but this is a dashing wood elf about 5'2".
Yeah, I
Seems
go,
to make sense.
Well, Farewell's still like 6'3", so he's like,
Still looks down.
he's still looking down.
Fair enough.
Just surprised at how little.
Yeah, he's just a lot taller than he's used to. Farewell sort of goes, "Don't tell Eclipse I did that. She will never let me live it down."
Yeah, and
Tell you what.
Eclipse, Glory, Aiden didn't perceive this at all. In fact, Farewell didn't see the colors fade, but he does know what he just did. He felt his death ward go off.
Yeah. I am going to be in so much trouble.
Yep.
That happened in
Probably.
the present, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know that instinctively. That happened in the present. Somewhere out there, Lathandus almost let go and was going to die, a happy man, knowing that he had passed the baton on to a bunch of adventurers who would carry on his work after him. But now he's got, I don't know, old age, nursing home and pudding to look forward to or something.
Or,
yeah.
or happiness
D&D
and shiny,
nursing homes.
the fact that he can actually now live some years for himself rather than his own fucking crusade.
He's over 3,000 years old. There's not much he can do left at the moment. Pudding is about as closest to adventure as he can have.
So he'll die tomorrow, Simon. Let's not worry about it.
I feel like Farewell adding his name to another cosmic being / deity's shit list.
I like to point out you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah,
That's his new
Nick,
saying.
Farewell is saying that as he's throwing eggs against the fucking wall.
I mean, there is a metaphysical argument there that says if I throw enough eggs at the wall, it will eventually become an omelette.
I mean,
Oh, fuck off.
Only with the pedanticness of the word enough.
Exactly, you know.
I will headbutt this wall enough until the wall becomes an omelette.
I mean, there is that argument, you know, that if you do something enough, that there is the astronomically small chance it may happen. You know.
yeah. So
Cora, get us out of this metaphysical
I will
crisis.
grab Eclipse's hand, paw, and Farewell's, and
She has a hand with.
yeah, I know,
Paw
but it's
pads.
small pads. It's good
Yeah,
little
paw pads.
beanies.
Yeah,
pads.
she has toe beans on her hand. No, not toe beans, but beans.
There's hand
Um,
beans.
And I will watch to see if she grabs the others. I don't think we probably need to, but
Oddly,
I just
Cora,
it feels.
you can grab everybody's hands even though you only have two, because this is a dream and that shit works.
I do it, and we go boomf. Well, we don't go boomf. I look to Farewell. I'm like, lead on, and I ask him to kind of give me the imagery, and then I take us there. Because you
A
said I have
dynamic
to know
adventure
where it's going.
reels out before you, flashing past until it is part of your memory. Traveling down roads, fighting bandits that you technically think shouldn't pose any threat to you, but there was a dynamic battle nonetheless, longer than most of your battles because they weren't just melted by acid within the first round. There lots of acid was thrown though, and it was done dynamically. You remember it clearly. You went past beautiful villages, humble folk. You sang in various taverns along with bards, ate wonderful fare. You flirted with lovely ladies and other people of your particular liking. You found out more about the heart of Juradan. You managed to
It's
finally
a whole other
get
campaign that you'll get to see later.
that date with Olivia, and yes, other such things along a epic journey that took a few weeks to get to this location, and yet, almost as if it was the blink of an eye, you stand before a very carefully hidden amongst an old quarry, what seems to be a subterranean temple that has, if I was to liken it to Earth cultures, would have kind of, I guess, a Moroccan feel to it. It's in the cliff face itself. It's surrounded by rocks to the point where only a particular approach, a winding approach, could see the entrance. And yet, even though it feels like a blink of an eye has just gone past, but you know that Farewell, for hours, helped track through this all, showing skills that you never thought he'd have before. And all along the while, throughout this journey, 2 beautiful birds of paradise, seen regularly throughout. You now stand in front of what is quite clearly another capstone to a dungeon.
Interesting.
I
You
did not
muted,
expect
Fizzy.
that.
Isn't that a bit cliche?
We're in a dream, probably.
Classic. I mean, you know, these have to happen to be cliches, man. You know, and plus it's a classic. When was the last time we actually went into an actual, honest to God, dungeon?
Literally
I
a
would say
few
the
days ago in
temple
the
that
form.
we
Yeah.
turned into our own outpost and trading company.
No, that was.
It
That's not
was
a
literally a
dungeon.
crypt.
Look.
Aiden, Arcana, and yes.
Thank you.
It's classical.
Oh shit! Look at that, natural 20.
Oh boy!
Wow,
Wow.
dude.
Blood hunters be blood hunting. The glyphs on the front are quasi arcane, certain touches of divinity, mostly in the conjuration school. Starts to lend some theory towards the end of either to be related to elementals or possibly linked to one of your previous theories.
Well, I
Protection
suppose
runes,
we
conjuration.
can
This
knock our
isn't
two heads
a
together
temple; it's a vault.
on this. I would try and
Someone wants
like,
to keep something locked
really
up tight.
figure out those runes. You said they were quasi arcane.
Yep,
That means they should be understandable.
they're summoning runes.
They should
Yep.
be.
Yep. Glory certainly gets that. They're summoning runes. They are from the School of Conjuration. Eclipse gets that as well. In fact, everybody here gets it. But Aiden specifically, one of your previous theories suddenly pops into your head, and it lends a lot of weight to it. The monkey paw.
Okay. All right. So, remember how I said that basically whatever pact the Witch Queen made was with the sort of deity entity, cosmic being, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that particularly likes fucking with people. Its whole
That's
deal.
all of them, though.
No.
If we want to get into semantics, probably, maybe, but I'm talking being specifically who go out of their way, making deals, sweet talking mortals, and for the mortals to give up something, usually their soul, but not always that, right? And the end result being they get a lot of power, but the wish they had gets horribly twisted or taken away from them. So I don't know, just looking at this makes me believe we're dealing with that sort of entity.
Okay. So, also, sorry. So, does that mean that like the monkey's paw is a canon story in Ilaria?
In the same way that there are certain classical things like the Hand of Glory, the whole kind of
That's the hand Glory hits you with when you upset her, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
for those who don't know, I'm talking about the Hand of Glory, where each finger has a candle on it, and if
Yeah.
you light all of the candles, anybody in the house that you enter, if they're asleep, they stay asleep, no matter what.
I prefer my version where it's just Glory pimps
But the
up
monkey's
on
paw, if you
people.
don't know,
Yeah.
is basically the monkey's paw is a conduit to a genie, or and you can ask for wishes, and it will grant the wishes, and as it does so, it counts down the fingers for the wishes that you have. But the
wishes are often twisted.
the wishes never turn out the way you want it to be. It's either a djinn or a genie or a.
Well, there is a original story for the monkey's paw. It's like
Yeah,
an
I know.
actual.
But
I used
translated
it as a
into
reference.
modern fantasy
Yeah.
canon, it's normally a mischief spirit that is playing on your desires.
Yeah.
So, but yes, the things like that. Yes, there are stories akin to that. But in this case, I know what Rodrigo is getting at, and I'm confirming that otherworldly beings that grant wishes. And this is a vault.
This is a
Not
vault.
Yeah, it is not a temple. It is a vault.
So whatever is behind this, someone, I can't imagine who, wants to keep something locked away.
This is either where she's trying to get to or where she is. But you said it's
Or
where she
if
is.
she- Or there's something of great value in there that she doesn't want anyone to find.
Like the hardship locked out.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Either way, it's important. Could we get a gauge of like if we is there like where this place might be? Do I have an idea of where this place might be in reality, not just in the dream? Like
Pretty certain you traveled all the way there. It's all there in your head.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And
And farewell, absolutely.
yeah.
It's inspired, he says, feeling quite smarmy.
Now the smug's coming off Simon's camera.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have the idea that, and because we thought we were going to where she was, right? But are we getting that kind of vibe, or are we definitely getting a vibe that is just more that this is important to her in some way, not necessarily that this is where she is?
I'm sorry for the more twisted answers, Kate, but you know that she is currently not here, and yet you know she is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know the direction that she's in, but also you know that she's currently inside the vault.
That's the phylactery. It's the phylactery.
No, specifically, Cora, the Witch Queen in the dream is inside the vault. The Witch Queen right now,
It's not.
outside in Mundus, is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Eclipse, you're having a dream. You're having a dream where there's a vault in front of you. You're effectively Kitty Tomb Raider.
Yes. I go in the vault.
See how to Jordan! It found it!
Is like Eclipse
It's
has
like
she
a
gone
box.
from like is Eclipse gone from like her normal looking self into like a PlayStation 1 polygon version of
Yeah.
herself? Or she's
Her
just
boobs
made
are
out of
at
like
triangles.
yeah,
Also,
she's
this
just
is
made
really
out
funny.
of
Boobs and
triangles.
ears are triangles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's just
triangles.
made out of triangles.
I don't know. I think it says a lot about me that the first thing I thought is that she just becomes fucking Garrett from Thief.
Well, this
A
is
classier reference, it has to be said, being a big fan of the Thief
the
games.
Tomb Raider reference is very apt because
Ooh, I can get that on the PC.
our guild at the moment has been playing a lot of like Tomb Raider 1, like the one with the triangle boobs. So
Oh,
you know.
yeah. So,
But the triangle boobs is a classic.
Yeah.
as much as I would like to spend the remaining 15 minutes of the stream talking about triangle boobs,
Let's go. I
go.
go in the tomb.
okay.
I check for
Okay.
traps.
Good idea.
There we go. I was about to say, Kitty, there's a capstone door in front of you. You check for traps.
Do I see her running off?
Yes.
It's not so much running off. You're all stood in front of a capstone, and she just kind of starts looking at it.
Okay.
And we're like,
I
oh,
have
no.
a feeling that I know
Oh,
what's
no.
about to happen, so I reach over and I give her guidance.
Sure. Eclipse, you find all the traps and disarm them. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So are you.
I am so cool.
You slip part of your thieves' tools in the door, and the door slides with a dramatic down into the floor. You dart inside, and at the very last second, realize that you've just stepped on a pressure plate. Dive to the floor, and a bunch of darts go ching, 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 and you slide across the floor, knowing that all the darts have been fired now, and it's safe for your friends. You then go and find a twisting staircase that goes down into the depths of the
I
rock
somehow
face
find a pair of
before you.
guns.
You run down it several times, blades shoot out, and you jump onto the blade, skipping from blade to blade, bending them as you do so that the others can come along and avoid them, because they're now bent and they're not going to shoot in and out of the holes. The other guys are barely catching up because you are Tomb Raider Kitty. You find yourself going down into a corridor, and suddenly
All we can hear,
a chanting.
like going from that in Eclipse accent, is just, "It belongs in a museum!"
Cora, you realize that most of the traps here, even if they were accurate to what's actually there, most of them are being conjured up by Eclipse herself, but you're letting her riff it off because basically if she's imagining and defeating them, it's clearing the path. It would probably be, if you go to the real location of this, some of the traps may be there, but you don't know. Most of them, you know, though, are being conjured and solved by Eclipse herself.
She's on the kitty tree thing, you know, just playing now. Like
You're starting to get what the Summer King meant by bloodhound. Ordinarily, your own doubt and your own fear of being in a place like this means that you would conjure traps that you yourself would struggle to would struggle to complete or struggle to defeat.
Yeah.
Because she's driving herself forward by sheer ego. She's writing the dream ahead of you and basically pathfinding. You find yourself catching up with Eclipse. Weirdly, Eclipse did not stop and wait for you, and yet you've caught up because narrative shit like this happens in dreams. She would happily have barreled in there to the Witch Queen, but it turns out you all arrived there at exactly the same time as dream narrative dictates. The chamber in front of you is what would normally be considered to be a large ritual room, and it is a ritual room, except it's more arcane than it is divine. Its conjuration and summoning elements are similar to a lot of things that would summon demons, fiends of various kinds, even angels in some cases. Contains most of the main components that you would expect of this.
The Sarma secret trap that was going to show, shoot
absolutely,
sleeping darts on us.
In fact, a dart containing the most terrible poison in the world fires towards Glory, and
I catch it with my tail. And
you catch it with your tail. Exactly. Cora, you know best to let sleeping cats lie in a completely different construct of that sentence. The scene in front of you, the same four undead in what seem to be arcanists, very dated arcanists' robes, almost like ancient Egyptian, tall, kind of squared off.
Simon,
Yeah.
we have previously stated that Glory can recognize some of the schools of magic's, college's robes. Can I tell from where they are?
You know that these are of a very old theme of collegiate, and that is that it was General Wise Man costume. It was considered that elder back in very ancient times. I mean, you know, the Witch Queen's quite old, very fucking old. Bear in mind, this is a 3,000-year-old elf looking at the Witch Queen. She's been around for several thousand years. This is considered dated. You know from your history of magic lectures that you had in your aunt's university that this was a general style of respect me, I know magic in this area. It would be what would be considered a general. I mean, where I come from in Wales, it would be like a general druid's costume. In South America, it would be kind of like a wise man, witch doctor, call it what you will, kind of shtick of a headdress or something like that. Of I look different to the rest of you. Fear me, I know more than you. This has occurred in cultures throughout. Throughout our world, you've got the Samoon up in Siberia, going through down to the Sami. Is it in Sweden? North Sweden?
Sami, yes.
Sami, yeah. You know, where there are certain headdresses and ways of dressing up to say, I'm connected with the spirits, I have arcane knowledge, that kind of thing. Basically, the underlying point of the pomp and the decor is fucking respect me, I know more than you. Yeah. It's in every culture in the world. And this is a general cultural garb that you would have seen in your history lessons regarding Vardencore, Meridia, over towards the Celtlands, but then it stopped around Scaura because dragons fucking existed back then and had better style. But according to your education anyway, thank you to see it. So yeah, you know, this is a general wise man's garb, which shows that they're very, very old, and as long as they carried on learning past their undeath, probably quite powerful. A death rattle voice comes from one of them and says, "We bid you come." And you can see it's the end of a ritual, and you have a feeling that you are hearing in common tongue what you're pretty sure would be a very ancient language. And in the middle of this wisp of smoke, and standing there, what you presume is a djinn. She appears completely naked, shapely, blue-skinned, bright crystalline eyes in a very uncanny valley thing which breaks the rest of the aesthetic apart. Her hair seems to be made out of mist, cloud.
Blue babe.
The overall effect, despite the deliberate, alluring form that she turns up in, is unworldly and terrifying.
So Gloria's going gaga.
Yeah.
Even Glory is kind of like, nah, too much skank.
I don't know. Glory, I don't think there's such a thing as too much skank for Glory.
It depends on the context.
Judgment.
And it just goes, and there we go.
In what to the right set of ears would be a purr, but to you is really superficial. Especially to Cora and Farewell, by the way. You instinctively know this. The rest are getting a kind of residual effect because I remember the things that you've cast. The voice coming out is divisive. And the djinn says, "You've summoned me here, though I see no quarry, no bargain, no asset worthy of my attention." One of the robed figures, you can't really tell where the voice is coming from, says, "We call you here on behalf of our patron. She wishes to renegotiate her relationship with you. after you were parted so very long ago, she has had a vision, as is her wont, and believes that future events will require both of you in concert in order to thrive. She wishes to allow you in to her research regarding the sanctuary. Kneeling with the two, there's four figures, the four figures are split 2 and 2, and kneeling between the two of them is the Witch Queen. Spindly